But yeah, on the other's note, patricide is the worst aside. Because you were just talking about killing your parents.
I did not say I would kill them. You guys said you would, and I said go ahead.
Oh.
There's a difference here.
I said nothing.
Hopefully y'all understand we're talking about her in-game parents, not...
I can't leave you guys alone.
No, you can't.
Last week it was talking about killing Gary.
Well, joke's on you. I'm going to kill you guys this time.
Well, see,
Start with the fun guy.
I was going to say the fun is seeing what's going to happen to me, because we all know with Iacus he lost his favorite jacket. With
Jacket? I don't remember a jacket. What are you talking about?
Galdrian, his parents died.
His parents were dead a long time ago.
Yeah.
True, but you didn't know that. You thought he had just died.
Mm-hmm.
So now what's going to happen with me? That's
Yeah, what's Suna going to lose?
Yep.
Bag of cookies. Easy.
I've already
We all
lost
know.
that.
No, I'm gonna take away her identity as a fox person. She's gonna be an elf.
No.
Thought you already thought we had
No.
too many elves already.
No,
Yeah.
She's not going to be an elf. She's going to be a gnoll. Because she was hot
That's
for the last
actually
gnoll.
what she was in.
I was going to say, wasn't I that already in
Yeah,
something?
that was what her race was when this was a fantasy craft game.
Yes, I was.
So speaking of the past, both welcome to the average adventuring party, and also what happened last time, you guys.
Combat!
Yeah, we ambushed some Sunchaser Sovereignty troops, including 3 big, massive suits that basically had flamethrowers and flame launchers.
And killed them all.
And we massacred them. Didn't let any of them get away.
Our dice rolls were sponsored by Hoover, though, because they sucked about 8 pounds
Mine were
worth.
good.
I don't know. I rolled like 17 crits, so I'm happy.
Mine sucked up until the last one.
The important one. So yeah, that's
Hoover, not a sponsor, but
if you guys want to suck. Wait, no.
suck with
Yeah,
us.
you can pay us money on Patreon for suck.
I mean, this,
We can suck for you.
this podcast does need more suck, so get to it, Hoover.
Gone from doing mouth stuff to sucking.
I think it's the same thing.
Well, that's them doing mouth stuff to us. Now we're doing the mouth stuff for them.
We're offering to do the mouth stuff for money.
Like we haven't before.
So, about that average adventuring party podcast.
So about the soldiers you massacred.
Ripped their eyes out.
They deserved it.
Yeah, so that's where we'll pick up. Is just immediately after heads are bashed, people are shot, lightning, fire, and ice is channeled.
Somebody put the fire out. Put the fire out.
You see Whisper walk over to the fire, and he's just like shooting a stream of misty spores into it. That
Does it look like you're peeing?
no,
Okay, just making sure.
Todoki goes over and examines the big first one that we took down that had the catastrophic failure with a mushroom punch.
he got the mushroom stamp.
Would you say that that's ruined?
The
armor
oh
itself?
yes,
I'm gonna pick it up.
it weighs probably about 500 pounds.
I'm gonna remove the pieces of the body and try and get in.
So you carefully pick up the shattered remains of that body and start doffing it. There appears to be like conventional armor pieces that you put on, but if you want to get into this thing, you are not built correctly for it.
Okay. Mainly the arm. Like, can we retrieve the arm from it?
Whisper's probably strong enough to just yank the arm off.
Okay. Hey, Whisper, can you come rip this arm off? I want to try and see if I can figure out how it works.
Whisper trods over to it, looks at it quizzically, turns their head, then puts 2 giant mitts on it, and then just twist crack.
Nothing like a crab claw.
So, when this is going on, you are handed the remains of the arm of a suit of armor that also has a arm in it.
Yep.
Whisper, you feel this while you have prolonged contact with it. Just your hands start burning.
Hands it to you as their hands are just like.
Yeah, Todoki, you can actually see where he's touching that armor.
Uh-huh.
He is just sizzling.
Yeah.
Smells like someone's cooking a mushroom burger.
Suna, likewise, you finish ripping one of these soldiers apart. You go to, give that final blow, and he holds up something that's around his neck. And the minute it comes in contact with your skin, you start sizzling. You're able to jump away from it, and he dies. You've only recently, the 4 of you, seen this. These soldiers are carrying wrought iron pendants.
Is there... Would I have like tongs in my bag or some kind of spatula or something? I'm going to try to lift it up and the pendant that he has that just almost burned me. And put it in my frying pan at the moment, not to fry it, but to hold it out to look at it.
So
what is it made of? What is it?
So it's on a reinforced leather thong, basically. It is, I don't know, 3-4 inches round. It has a band around the outside, and then it's mostly empty space in the middle, but there is very clearly the mark of the emperor, of the sovereignty.
And with one of my fingers, I'm going to go towards it. How close can I get to touching it before I start feeling the sizzling again?
You have to touch it.
I have to touch it? Okay.
Yes.
But when I touch it, it does sizzle my finger?
It looks like if you guys are kind of examining the battlefield, each one of these soldiers has that. And now that Todoki is examining the arm, like the frame of it, is cold iron as well.
Okay.
Hey, Todoki. Touch this.
I'm holding up the arm. And I shake out the physical arm that's in there. Same stuff.
It doesn't burn you?
No. 18 on a scout captain. I'm using my scout captain ability. Was this whispers of this in the wind, I guess, or were there rumors about this before I defected? About the plans for these.
For the plans for these, no.
Well, not the big flame guys, but like mass production of wrought iron, cold iron, and all.
It's a well-known fact that cold iron adversely affects fey creatures.
Yeah, and so Todoki says,
You're not fey.
yes. The Emperor has plans for all the Fey people. All of our troops were distributed with this. I lost mine a long time ago because I didn't think coming into the forest as an ally carrying anathema would be smart or beneficial.
So how do we destroy it?
While she's doing that, can I wiggle my arm into the arm armor? Can I make it fire as if it were fully functional with my gloves of glories past? I know it's just got whatever fuel is left in the line, so I know this is a one-shot thing.
Yeah, so there's inside the the gauntlets, there's some kind of crystal interface that you can feel. When you kind of play around with the controls, there's a short burst of fire out of one of the ports, and then it goes dead.
Okay. So I'm going to melt the thing. And if I send you, I'm sorry. But I'm fiddling with this thing, and it just shoots out the fire. I'm like, I think fire melts it. And I think this thing's well and truly busted now. Toss it down.
So what are Whisper and GIovanna doing while all this
the
is going?
bodies are getting like fungicided or getting fungusified.
He's eating.
No, I'm reproducing.
He's going to Funky Town.
It's going to Fungi Town. So each one of these that has a wrought iron symbol on it is very difficult for your spores to take hold on.
So what I'm going to do then? Do they have like any swords or anything? Whisper, understanding that this stuff hurts his people, is going to like grab them by the thong, the leather strap, and just try to rip it off. And if that doesn't work, he'll just hack off the heads.
Yeah, so you can just take these off.
So let's make a pile of them and then burn them.
No, I'm gonna. Oh, you mean the burn the pendants?
Yeah,
Yeah, we can do that.
so nobody runs across them and gets hurt or nothing.
You do that. You start spreading your spores, sowing your wild spores, as it were.
So they're not going to understand this. I'm Bato. He's Jasper.
When you get to the guy who had the lance, the one who was running away, you yank the necklace off of him. Try it again, and same effect.
So he sizzles when I touch him.
Yes.
Okay. So then I'll just grab him by the head and drag him over into the bonfire
Yeah.
that we make.
So you drag him over. As you toss him, Todoki, you see that he's got a scout's bag kind of around his middle that is full of stuff.
I'm going to retrieve that. Hold on. This has information. I used to be, and my place in the Elven army, the Empire's army, was scout captain. So I am very familiar with what to look for with these guys.
So there's a couple of notebooks that are written in Elven. Mostly just logs, where his unit's been. And from the way you have been shadowing them, they're more or less accurate. There's actually a couple of entries in there where they've talked about glorious battle over some fey creatures and how there was a massacre that you absolutely know did not happen.
Yeah.
But for the most part, there's just spent today walking, covered this many miles. He has some personal effects in there, like there appears to be what looks like a pommel horn from a saddle that's been broken off, and then there is a silk bag that has something very heavy in it. When you open it up, it's probably about the size of your fist. It is a gem that is wrapped in wrought iron. You've seen these before.
Oh.
They are basically orders for a unit. And typically it doesn't matter if they're left in the open because they're only going to open for sovereignty troops.
Hey! Can I get it open?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when you crack it open. Inside there are a bunch of letters, which are basically names of all these troops. And then there is one that looks like it has been crumpled up and then like re-flattened out and folded back and put into place. When you open it, there's a very, like, even for Elven script, it is particularly curly and pretty. It says, your request for a transfer to Operation Freefall is most audacious and presumptuous. The individuals who have been selected to take part in this glorious project are talented, dedicated, dutiful, and loyal. Your unit's performance in the Enchanted Forest, however, has shown that I would be betraying those qualities in both myself and all members of the team of Freefall should I grant you your desire. As such, you are to report to Mage Captain Miichi to take part in Operation Anchored Ghost. While it is hoped that this provides a long-term solution, and that is underlined, to the Enchanted Forest problem, that is both capitalized and underlined, it is more likely to simply be a stopgap until Freefall comes into effect. You are expected to participate with full attendance and, should it be deemed necessary, give your life to ensure Anchored Ghost's success. As I expect this to be our last communique, I would hope you find what you are looking for in the next life. It is signed Utano of House Kayakawa.
Wow, this Utano guy sounds like a dick. Actually, I know Utano, and she is a massive dick.
On the backside of it, there is a set of coordinates within the forest.
Hey. Do you know where this is? And I pull out a map, because I assume that's, as a scout, it's pretty standard for me to have at least a rough map.
Sure.
And I'll spread it out. I'm like, looking at the coordinates on there, can I about guesstimate where it'd be on my map, roughly?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, hey, do you know where this is, Suna?
So I would like each of you to make me an intelligence check to remember something.
So that's just plus our level? Mm-hmm. Okay.
20.
You have a better intelligence than I, but 20.
6.
Yeah, that's about right for Whisper.
7.
Yeah, that tracks.
I'm a little distracted playing soccer with this guy's head and seeing what else I can loot off this giant thing.
So, I'll give you that you can probably find, like, if you yank open those shoulder panels, you can find a couple of those little heat seeker crystals. So I'll give you, we'll say 4, since he had charged up, but did not fire. 4 of those.
Have a heat seeker throw.
Okay, cool.
And when and if you would like to use those, let me know and we'll talk about what they do.
Yeah.
You two, who, got
Are
double,
actually looking at the map.
double digits. You both realize, like, you passed by that way probably about a week ago and through the forest shadow, and there was nothing there.
Like, nothing? Or,
like you
not concerned about nothing? Or
like you...
void nothing?
No, like you did not see any troops there. Or rather, at least you passed through the area. Suna knows she did not see any troops there.
We may want to backtrack. I don't know. Pardon me. I don't know, but I haven't heard what Operation Freefall is. That seems like a need-to-know thing. And doesn't sound good.
So, since I've been watching that troop for a couple of days, have I noticed, what have they been doing? Have they just been walking through the forest, or does it seem like they had a purpose other than just walking through?
So you picked them up right after they entered the forest.
What did they do?
Basically made a beeline towards the spot that Todoki pointed out.
And then they kind of kept just walking through?
Heading in that direction, yes.
So they haven't reached that destination yet?
No. If you were on foot, it's probably about 3 or 4 more days travel.
Were they burning stuff along the way, or
If it got
hurting stuff along the way? Or?
But they weren't like, not like the troops were when you first came back, where they were actively trying to just burn down whatever they could.
You also don't, if you're traveling in a direction, you don't start a forest fire because those can't be controlled. And so if they're trying to get somewhere, they probably won't want an...
Well, I was trying to decide if maybe that is a trap for us.
I mean, it could be.
Because, you know, if they suspect that we have non-Fey creatures working with us, we would be able to open that, and automatically we would go for those coordinates.
And to be fair, they out and out said Utano expected them to die.
Yeah, so
But
could have been a suicide mission to give us somebody to kill and think we got a message.
yeah, but the great thing about knowing a trap is there is we can actually expect a trap, whereas before we would have just been like, oh, they're heading this place, let's go here. Now we can go there and spring their trap and turn it on them, potentially.
Not when we really don't know what kind of trap to expect.
That's why we watch, we scout.
You see Whisper think for a second, and then you all get like a mental image of us going to that spot through the forest's shadow.
See? Whispers onto it. But I think we leave before we get there, scout it out in the real world, because I can never see anything in that damn place.
Well, but you also have to realize that it would take them like 3 or 4 more days to get there. So whatever they were meeting there may not be there yet.
Or it might be there and they're still assembling troops from all over, so now would be the time to strike. Right? You get to kill Empire soldiers.
You get an image in your head of us just ripping apart Empire soldiers.
I like the big fella's plan.
Yeah. Whisper is like 20 feet tall on that, and like GIovanna and Todoki are like sitting on their shoulders, like cheering as he just smashes the Emperor of the Sun Chaser's sovereignty repeatedly into the ground, like bam, bam, like hammering a stake into the ground.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to go there and check it out, but
Oh, it'll hurt them.
maybe if they're there.
They're going to be there. The orders are set.
No, it could be lure us there, and then in a day, trap
Why is
us.
it that I'm the one having to argue for killing the Empire soldiers?
I'm not against killing them. I'm against being killed by them.
Okay, Cheddar Biscuit. How about we get close? We let Pretty Boy go do his scouting thing, find out, and then we plan our move from there.
Okay.
We don't have to go all the way, just close enough where he can get there and back.
Now, in the mental image, Whisper is using the Emperor's corpse as a puppet. There's no words coming out, but just doing a little dance.
Okay.
And there's mushrooms growing out of it. It's kind of gross.
He approves.
Oh, good. Then take his hand.
Whisper grabs everyone into a big hug. Doesn't squeeze. Learned his lesson from the first time. Rip that other elf that was with us. And all of a sudden, poof, takes a step and we're in the forest shadow.
I hate this place.
It kind of grows on you.
Oh, you're not
Yeah, but
supposed
so
to.
does this guy. And he's from
There's
this place.
a harmless spore just kind of like a little miniature Whisper appearing on your shoulder and looking at you.
I will respectfully pluck that. Be like, here you go.
Aw, he likes you, pretty boy.
So
Doesn't have a mouth, but
Just shoves it in his
just
face
really
anyway.
incorporates it.
the three of you, Suna, as you're watching, Whisper, pulls them close, takes a step, and then just disappears from your view. You likewise, concentrate on shifting over to the forest shadow.
I'm going to glance one more time. Do I notice anything that we need to pick up, grab?
No, there's any number of weapons if you want them.
No other bags, no other... trying to think of what else.
It looks like Whisper has basically eaten anything organic
Okay.
or spored it.
Then yeah, I will.
Yep. So you,
No, I will at least... We need to do something with the weapons so that way somebody doesn't just come by. Are they like to where if I put them in the bonfire, will they kind of soften or melt or any of them? No, they're not wood or...
now, pretty much all the wood has been spored.
Spored. Okay.
But, there are a couple of swords and like spearheads and things like that.
I'm going to try to grab as many as I can to bring them in the forest shadow with me.
Okay.
Because I don't want to leave them for...
Sure. Do you pick up what metal bits remain, concentrate, and then step into the shadow?
And then just drop them.
Yeah. Suna steps out of thin air, and then just chunks a bunch of weapon detritus down.
Have you guys not learned anything? We do not need to leave this behind.
What? Why not? Generally, we'll leave them as a message to the other elves that their brothers in arms died a horrible death.
So they can pick them up and have extra weapons? So that way some of the Fey children can pick them up and...
That's why he eats all the organic material. They have to spend time to reforge and
It's
rewrap
still-
and rebind.
It is still a sharp object.
So-
You see a mental image of a bunch of young children, including like little tiny versions of Whisper, taking the swords and each of them stabbing a different version of the Emperor.
So
Or all stabbing the same Emperor at once.
At least move them into the Fey world so that way,
So GIovanna. Your eyesight is
Terrible so far.
less advanced than everyone else, seeing as you're a human. This plane of existence is... Imagine a blue filter over everything. It is almost always dim to you. To Todoki, it is to a greater or lesser degree. To Whisper and Suna, this place appears as well lit as a normal forest. There are subtle differences. The forest you were in had, we'll say, a lot of oak trees. Where you are now, there's a lot of ash trees. The two of you, Whisper and Suna, you look around. You get a sense of what remains of those elven bodies on the natural plane. And then over there, where you toss those amulets, the fire is not hot enough to melt them, but there is just this darkness. So like where those amulets are, there's just nothing. It looks almost like a hole in the world.
So... Which plan?
We're moving towards the
Yeah, you've got the
coordinates.
map, you've got the coordinates. Lead the way. This is your...
Well, I know that, but
Place
how
of
close should we get?
So let's get close and see what we see in here. Y'all tell us, and then we figure it out from there. Improvise, adapt, overcome.
So I'm gonna start walking off.
So travel is strange to the non-Fae in the forest shadow. To you two, it looks like you're in a forest. You know, any particular way you look, however far you walk, you're just there. Occasionally, however, Whisper or Suna will just stop you and announce that you're there. And when you take the next step with them, you have traveled thousands of miles in some cases. This trip is very much similar in that Suna just has this innate sense of where she needs to go to get where she needs to go in the forest shadow to get to where she needs to go in the natural world. You guys are walking for about 10 minutes, maybe. In between steps, you go to take a step, and almost universally, the four of you, including Whisper, who's, despite his size, pretty light on his feet and graceful, just immediately find yourself face planting into the natural world.
And that's not normal, right?
No. In fact, you've never seen a non-Fae transition into or out of the shadow without being in contact with a Fae.
And neither of them were touching me, and they're out.
GIovanna and Todoki were not touching you.
Do we know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now everything looks normal to you.
Well, I mean, did we notice that we weren't touching one of the two of them?
Oh, yeah. I didn't assume you walked along holding hands. I may be wrong. Whisper.
Well, I mean, it's disorienting to me in Todoki.
Yeah.
So it's like, did we notice someone grabbing our hands at the last second, or what?
No. Like they're probably, a good 5-10 feet away.
So I am going to jump up and start looking around.
So Suna jumps up, and as soon as she does, immediately begins puking her guts up. Whisper, you lose control of some of your spores, and your shape begins to lose cohesion for a moment. So you just kind of start to droop into a puddle of mushroom.
You made me ink.
Concern.
You two are fine. Just, you fell on your face.
I'll brush the dirt from my dirty tabard.
Yeah, Gio would just get up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay?
Yeah, you okay over there?
Concern.
When you call out, it dawns on the two of you that you're hearing other voices and other sounds, like civilization. A lot of it.
Nearby, little ways down, right on top of us. Like,
we'll say directly in the direction you were headed, maybe 1,000 feet that way. There, you see, through the underbrush, the tops of sovereignty tents, and at least one makeshift guard tower with a couple of elves on top of it.
now, what is this guard tower made out of? Can I see? Does it look like it's reflecting light, like it's metal?
It looks like it's wood.
Okay.
I'm gonna usher Suna and the puddle into the brush. Make sure they're more or less okay.
Yeah, you're able to drag both of them in.
I want to look around what's nearby. Like, is there anything iron right around here?
Iron? No.
Yeah, no?
I'm gonna, through the bush and everything, utilizing all my stealth scout skills, I am going to let them know I'm gonna see what I can see, and I'm going to very, very carefully try and get a look at this camp, and I'm trying to keep an eye out to see if I see maybe like a binding circle or anything of wrought iron, because I would assume that it would create like a gravity spot or something. Like that's the only thing that I could imagine might pull us out.
Sounds like a good perception type check.
Okay, I'm gonna use Scout Captain for this. Nice. That's 22.
Okay. So while GIovanna starts pulling fey critters into the bushes, you just immediately start snake crawling your way up. There is the standard pattern temporary to permanent sovereignty camp plan has not changed.
Yeah.
So you come across a clearing where you can't go any further because everything has been burned away, like all the stumps and everything. Mm-hmm. There's a perimeter of 8 guard towers. So basically 1 in each cardinal, 1 in each mid cardinal. Each of those towers has between 5 and 10 archers on it.
Oh, crap.
In the middle of this clearing, there is what looks to be a permanent building that is made out of wrought iron.
There it is.
It's about 3 stories tall and maybe 50 foot to a side. Around that are what look to have once been tents that are being set up with wrought iron frames. And then beyond that are other tents. So it looks like they set up the initial building. Everything around that was temporary, and they are slowly converting the temporary buildings into wrought iron framing.
Okay.
There are probably... There's got to be over 100 elves here, easily. You see a few of those flame troopers, and then we'll say way in the back, you hear something very large moving, and there is someone steps forward in a suit of armor that's 3 times the size of the one you just fought. It looks like it completely encloses them. Each of the tanks it has on its arms are about your size, and they are burning away and clearing more trees. And you can see a couple of those suits parked towards the back.
I'm going to try and be like sketching this down in my little scout sketchbook as much as I can, jotting down these numbers and figures so I can discuss it, and then I will sneak back to the party.
So by the time you come back, Whisper has managed to pull itself. Whisper has become whisper-shaped again. Suna, you have a terrible, terrible headache. And if you've ever had like tinnitus or anything like that, you just have this just buzzing in your ears.
Have I ever had this happen before? Feel like this before? No.
No.
Can I still feel the forest shadow, like somewhere behind me or like further back?
If you try to concentrate on it, no.
So I'm going to try to back up a little, keep trying to back up, not like too far, but a little bit further back. Mm-hmm. Do I notice any of the symptoms lessening as the further back I go?
The further away you get from whatever's up there. And Whisper, however you interpret being uncomfortable and in pain.
Dry.
Red spores.
You need clear spores.
GIovanna remains fine.
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on them and keeping an eye on the way into these bushes. Because if it's not
Todoki coming through there, they're getting stabbed.
Yeah, eventually Todoki comes.
Funny you should mention that, because coming from behind y'all, opposite
a completely different direction from whence he left.
I come up and
You might almost get stabbed then.
probably yes, but I creep into camp. I had to make sure that I wasn't followed and wasn't spotted or anything like that. And I will whip out my drawings and be like, we're going to need a bigger boat. I'm sorry. We need more help. We've got a major problem.
What are we looking at here?
Well, something completely unique. Whenever I left, there was rumbles about, getting wrought iron to every soldier. Well, they're taking that to another level. Saw some more of the flame guys. Saw a big building of wrought iron, which is probably what bounced us out of the place. I also saw a giant mechanical monstrosity looming over the walls. This is not me exaggerating, and he holds up the picture of what looks like a giant mech, basically like Godzilla towering over a fucking city. This wasn't much of an exaggeration, and it's all made of wrought iron.
So do I know where wrought iron, where you can like farm it or make it, or
it's literally iron that you have dug up, and then you beat it into shape instead of heating it, or you heat it very, very little. So it is raw iron that has been shaped.
And
It's wrought. It has been wrought.
well, I'm like, where in the world would you? Did they?
It's not in the Enchanted
source it?
Forest.
Well, I know that.
You haven't done much traveling outside of the Enchanted Forest.
Besides the caldera.
Yeah, except for a mountain that you blew up.
Yeah, there's some mountains to the south that the Empire does a lot of mining.
I'm just wondering if I heard of the Emperor mining places before.
All the time. They've tried mining in the Enchanted Forest before. They've tried mining under the Enchanted Forest before.
Okay.
It didn't work out.
Resources.
Yeah, it didn't work out so well for them.
You must construct additional pylons.
That fracking sucks.
So, knowing some of the fighting we have done, so far in the Enchanted Forest on our side, how many non-Fey creatures do we even have helping us? Do we have
Non-Fey?
Yeah. Do we have very many
There's
that I know of?
maybe 50.
I mean, to be fair, you made it a standing policy when you were the guardian of the forest
not-
to kill any non-Fey that entered your forest.
And a couple of those are like weird cases, like dragon men who have wandered in and because they had nothing better to do, decided to stay and fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured there wouldn't be very many, but we do have a few at least.
So, Whisper has like these telepathic spores. Mm-hmm. I imagine that sometimes they kind of pull from people's memories.
Sure.
So Whisper just kind of like leans in and puts a hand on the shoulders of Todoki and GIovanna, and you just see like a little bit of like vague shapes that kind of look like people that they fought aside in the past as allies, just being like recruited to just like charge in and just like tear down the walls of this place and beat down all the wrought iron, and then giant Whisper come in with a Suna on his shoulder and start beating Mecha Emperor into the ground.
Yeah, that's a good thought, buddy. Not many of my friends would do the old flipperoo like I did.
Then looks at...
They think they know they have the elven gods on their side and this, that, and the other, so...
Looks at Suna and and starts projecting a mental image of a offensively pretty mushroom.
Title of the band name.
Simply pretty.
Giving a
Mushroom.
cookie. Where is the cookie?
Would be nice to have a cookie right now. That is true. That is true.
Yeah, you guys have been short on bread because you don't have the ability to grow wheat.
If only Galdrian was here, I could get a cookie. You know. Oh, is that what you meant? Maybe Galdrian. Oh, but I don't know that I could get to Galdrian. We can't even get outside of here. That Galdrian would really... Ooh, Artist would be really good, too, to help. She'd be stabbing every single one of them.
I already like her.
Yeah, but there's no way to get to them. So they're not much of a help. And obviously, I can barely stand getting closer to this camp, what'd you call it?
To be fair,
More like a settlement.
you could go closer.
Throwing up along the way?
No,
It's not in the forest's shadow.
correct. So, you walking about is just uncomfortable and slightly painful.
Mental image of us getting into one of the guard towers, snapping the necks of all of the guards.
I see. So we just couldn't sneak up on them by using the forest shadow. I see.
It's like they heard your methods about people disappearing in the shadow.
Gee, wonder how that could happen.
Because everyone you send into the forest dies, and it's a fey forest.
Oh, there's other ways to make people disappear other than the little shadowy realm.
Now, I'm not saying they even know about the shadow realm. I'm just saying it's a shadowy forest. They send people out. The people die. It's a fey forest. Everybody knows fey are weak to iron.
Do they actually have proof that their people died? Because not everybody died.
Just most of them.
Just saying.
The Emperor doesn't very much care for proof. You send somebody out, they don't come back. They're either dead or deserted, so they're dead to him. You also strung up a lot of dead bodies in the past.
Well, yes, and intimidation is very, very important.
It worked.
Yes.
They consider you a threat now.
Well, that's good. Stop burning my fucking forest.
Oh no, that's not what's happening. They're still burning the forest. They're burning the forest far more effectively. What I'm saying is they're not underestimating you now, and now they're prepared to wage a war on the Fae, which means we need more help.
So, did it look like they were, settling in?
Yes, they're making a temporary camp a permanent settlement.
Okay.
They manned multiple guard towers, 8 guard towers, with a minimum of 5 to 6 archers on each. It looks like they were keeping roving patrols. It doesn't look like they're going to be slack. They know they're in the quote-unquote enchanted forest, the haunted fucking forest that keeps killing people, and they're expecting more death.
Is there still more forest on the other side of what I'm going to assume, I'm guessing how big their camp is. Is there more forest? So they're in the forest.
Yeah,
they're not on the edge or halfway in.
If you had to guess, you were about where the coordinates were on that map, which puts you guys dead in the middle of this section of forest.
So men actually do have to try to make it through the forest to get to them, through part of the forest at least.
Correct.
To get to them. So at the very least, we can ensure that who is there is all that is there. No more reach them.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And that right now, starving them and depriving them of reinforcements.
Yes.
But, well, that's a great plan, and I am entirely for it. a 4-person team cannot enact a siege. With more Fey folk, we might be able to set them around where they can hit and run any reinforcements and keep them from receiving food.
You just want me to go see my parents.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, huh?
So, GIovanna.
Yes.
While this argument's going on, you feel something brush past you. And then about 2 feet in front of you, this creature just appears flat, like hitting the dirt hard.
Oh.
It's probably about the size of a wolf. It's got very, very fine fur. It's particularly short fur, but it's just jet black. It has a particularly long tail, and it hits the ground, like starts to retch, looks up at you, and it has a very cat-like face. It has big, glowing yellow eyes, and off its back, these 2 tentacles start to raise up, and right as it's about to lurch...
6 legs?
Yes. And right as it's about to lurch for you, it gets this pained expression on its face, falls over, and then just pops.
Okay, Inky, where'd you go? It's safe right here. You can come out.
No, there's a literal pile of parts where it was.
It exploded.
It exploded.
You exploded Displacer Beast.
Oh.
I did not do anything. A Displacer Beast happened to explode.
You can't adopt
Damn it!
what's been exploded.
Well, that was weird. Hey, you guys heard of Fey creatures exploding?
Only if they're in direct contact with wrought iron for too long.
Yeah, you look up and there's, this medium-sized critter that has been popped way over there.
I'm going to very gently start going through it, see if I can find any wrought iron in it.
You can
No? Or near it.
No.
No, nothing. It just popped for no reason.
So
Can y'all put up a sign in the shadow if y'all can get back in saying beware explosions ahead or something?
So, Suna. Whisper probably hasn't traveled the forest shadow very much in his particularly short lifespan. But, Suna, you've traveled quite a bit before and after leaving the forest. A lot of forest shadow creatures can't exist outside of the shadow. Like, that's one of the surefire ways to get away from them if you're attacked, is to leave the shadow. Because if they can follow you, they usually die in the natural world.
Looking at those body parts now that exploded, does that look like a shadow creature?
It looks like a displacer beast. Which is to say, it is a large tentacled cat that can teleport.
It is now a Displacer Beast, and Displacer, and Displacer.
So I don't think the sign would help much because they live in the shadow.
I'm saying put the sign in the shadow.
Yes, but...
To keep them away from here. But then again, I don't think that Displacer cat...
But we need to figure out where the...
But I'm not familiar with it. I'm just like, hey, put up a sign.
I don't think a sign will work.
It does look like it was heading towards that encampment when it exited the shadow.
Exited out.
Now, Whisper gets what Todoki is saying, and is going to step away from the building and briefly pop back into the forest shadow before where I got tossed out.
Yeah, you have to go like a ways back, several hundred feet. And even then, it's only with a lot of concentration. You step back into the shadow and find yourself in the middle of a pack of about 20 of those displacer beasts.
Just spores everywhere saying, danger, 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 get away. Don't go this way.
All of them turn.
And I poof.
Yeah, just like 20 pairs of eyes turn and look at you in unison. And then some of them start disappearing. And then you step back into the real world.
But the spores, even though I don't know if they're able to understand me, like I send a whole thing about little displacer beasts popping out of the shadow realm and getting burst.
Sure. Whisper reappears.
So,
Gives Todoki a big viney thumbs up.
I have no idea what's going on, but I give him 2 right back.
Yeah, put up your warning sign.
Awesome. Great.
Is what I'm getting out of this, and this poor kitty.
So, we need to make a parameter, or at least, me and Whisper need to make a parameter so we know.
I'll save you some time. So what I do is I pull out my map and I kind of look at the sun and I judge it a little bit, and I can estimate where these coordinates are and about where we'd be on the map. And based off of the standard camp setup, I figure we're about this far back from the edge of the clearing, and then I'll just draw kind of a freehand circle around there. I said, I'm willing to bet perimeters like this. So,
Okay.
Y'all can test that out. Here's the map, and put up your warnings all around that.
So if you do the math and do your drawing, it looks like probably about half a mile in any direction from the center of that camp.
Yeah.
Okay. So, while we do all that, do I know where in the Enchanted Forest, like a lot of the, not really our troops, but a lot of the
Denizens?
Yes. Like where we happen to be.
Your people don't tend to gather in great
I
number.
think so.
You know a way to call them.
Would that be the Druid Courts?
It would be.
I mean,
Like you can,
Todoki wouldn't know that, but
yeah, you can through the moots send out word to the various peoples if you need meetings with representatives.
that's a moot point.
I would like to do that. So, how would I get a meeting with the Druids?
The easiest way is to tell your parents
That's what I figured.
because they're
Of course, my parents
They're-
get brought into this.
they're representatives of your people.
Everybody's parents get brought into this.
Talk to your district rep.
Okay.
Gotta get the council together.
So, which way is it to my parents?
From here,
Like, do I have to go around the camp, or can we go back the way we came?
well, time and distance are kind of funny in the forest shadow. So you can navigate, like now that you know where it's at, you can navigate around it if you need to.
Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and take both Gio's hand and Todoki's hand. Todoki? Todoki.
Well, now,
Todoki, hey, how you doing?
now you know how she really feels.
Todoki's hand, and just kind of gesture over there to Whisper to follow, and we're going back in the shadow to my parents.
Well, last episode we had the big number 2. Today we got Todoki. So
Sorry.
I think that's makes me wonder what's going to happen on the next episode.
We're going to drop you in poot.
So you step into the shadow again, And now that you're looking at it, if you look back towards where the camp is, it, like, contrast, color, texture, everything begins to rapidly dim, and your view of the horizon is just completely cut off when you look that way.
It's like burnt film.
Yeah. Suna and Whisper lead you in a completely different direction. And after a few moments, they stop you. You're there if you want to step out.
I'm going to step out.
You step out, and almost immediately there is a sword at your throat. Attached to a furry hand. You recognize your father because of the pipe he's smoking. He has the sword at your throat for a second, sees you, goes, puts his sword up, and he's got one of those really cool 3-sword display racks, and sets his sword on that, turns back towards you, and just picks Suna up and smothers her in a huge hug.
Oh, ain't this cute family reunion?
Yeah, the three of you step out. Todoki and GIovanna have met Yoshiyuki before. He is almost human-sized. He's got a big, pot belly. And he looks like Suna quite a bit. That kind of rusty orange with the pointy ears and the pointy snoot. Mm-hmm. He's got really long hair that's pulled up in a severe bun. And he's got a pair of... So there's a jade cuff holding it in place. He's got a pair of jade chopsticks through it, as well as a spare pipe stuck into it. His face, so it's kind of the standard foxy, orange and white, but he has black fur leading from the edge of his mouth to his ears and from the edge of his eyes to his ears. So it always gives him this sarcastic grin look. And he is just planting kisses on top of Suna's head and sets her down and gives you a bow, looks at Whisper.
Thumbs up.
He gives Whisper a thumbs up.
Whisper does a little celebratory wiggle.
And he says, I assume it's business. So let's go to the garden before your mother realizes you're home.
Why? We may need her for this.
Listen, there comes a time in every married individual's life where they instinctively understand when their significant other is angry.
What did you do?
That is entirely presumptive, and I cannot believe you would insinuate that I have done anything. Let's just have this conversation in the garden, if you don't mind, this way, please. And he just grabs you by the ear.
Gio's gonna mouth it. Suna, he totally did something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd be spilling it.
You can hear your mother inside. You haven't lived here in some time, but they have a very squat home built into the base of a tree. Your father has made a very elaborate series of waterfalls down one side of it, and there's a garden over there. And you can see him, like as he's walking, he's got Suna's ear in one hand. And he's walking, and he just stops and then just puts a hand on Suna's mouth. And he leans forward. Inside the window to the home, you can see your mother just slamming stuff around in the kitchen. And when she turns her back, he just shuffles you all along really quickly into the garden.
Oh, yeah. Honey Biscuit's real mad.
Yeah. So, what did you do? What does she think you did? How about that?
Yes, that's...
Okay. What does she think you did?
She thinks that perhaps I led a raid on sovereignty troops outside the Enchanted Forest.
But obviously you came back alive.
Well, that's not the point.
Oh, the point is you did it?
The point is I am accused of doing it.
And she doesn't want you to fight.
No, she doesn't want me to fight outside the forest.
Ah. Well, I don't think that's going to matter here soon. There's not going to be much of a forest.
He sits down on a bench, taps his pipe out, refills it, and is taking an agonizingly long time to do it.
I'm going to get frustrated and grab the map from Todoki. I almost said it again.
Todoki.
Todoki, I'm going to grab the map from him.
I think the episode title is going to be Todoki Doki Panic.
And
Todoki or not Todoki.
I'm going to shove it in my dad's face and say, you see this circle right here? It is covered with wrought iron.
I'm
from Boston, yeah.
He looks at the map. Looks at you.
Yes.
I can't read.
You don't have to read. You see the circle? You see how big that circle is? That whole area. It kicked us out of the shadow. It killed shadow creatures.
A Displacer Beast came out and went poof.
Oh, that's unfortunate. They're adorable.
They are.
When they're not trying to eat your faces off with their horrible mouth tentacles.
The same thing could be said for
That's
Suna.
besides the point, guys. So they have destroyed the forest shadow. They are continuing to burn the forest. And they have a building, huge building, built out of wrought iron. All their tents are starting to be built out of this. We have no
They
way
also
to
have
just...
a giant robot made of wrought iron.
So we need to start, sending people around the perimeter and
he lights his pipe, and
you don't seem rushed.
he's like got the map, and yes. Oh,
Yes.
that reminds me, and he reaches into his bag and pulls out a bottle. Says, "Would you like to try my new apple brew?"
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I do.
Where is Mom? Give me the map.
From inside the house, you hear, I know that voice. Suna?
Oh, no.
And the door kicks open.
I'm going to stand very tall and straight with my shoulders back and automatically say, yes, ma'am.
And that's where we're going to end the episode.
Ooh, Cheddar Biscuit's in trouble.
So,
Somebody's getting grounded,
I was going to say
and it's probably your father.
Yes.
Some of that grounding is going to splash onto her.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I know how to get ways out of it. I'm grown now.
Yeah, that always works so well
Yeah.
with mother's daughters.
Yeah, that totally works.
You can't tell me what to do.
Go to your room.
No.
Go to your room.
No.
Now.
Make me.
Don't you
Watch
kill
me.
those Empire soldiers.
I will give
Too bad.
I will give your mother an enchanted chancla.
Yeah, she would.
It deals double damage against children.
Named Suna. I changed my name, Mom. Now it's Cookie.
Yeah.
Best thing in the world.
The things you wouldn't let me have.
Still gonna call her Cheddar Biscuit.
Now I've got elves that give me cookies.
I met a gnoll while I was out there, too.
I met a dragon. It asked me on a date, and I said yes.
I gave bacon to the one-eyed dog, and what are you going to do about it?
Nope.
All right.
Sorry, not sorry that you're all
I think we
confused
should
now.
I think we should call it there.
Yep. So, find us at the places, do the things, give us feedback, sponsor 2 F-bombs. Because why sponsor 1 if you can sponsor 2? All that fun stuff. You guys got anything?
Nope.
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 All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll see y'all on the next episode.